Well, thanks for staying with us. So let's take a look at the centralized equipment identity registrar, which is also known as device management system. Sometimes these things sound so convoluted, right? What does it really mean? You saw that message out, or you may have, and it concerns quite a number of millions of Nigerians, you know, who have SIM cards and phones and all of that. That you need to bring your phone in, and then we hear, okay, you don't need to bring your phone in to get your IMEI number. What does all of that mean? You're no expert, are you? You're just a phone user.
Good Lord.
That's it. Well, we have three gentlemen.
It took years for me to know what my IMEI was to start with. Then I found that it was actually contained in the phone.
It took you years.
Yes. GSM came to Nigeria in 2000, 2001. I don't think I heard about IM till maybe 6 years later. But then I don't claim to be tech savvy. I am not. I am analog. Please. I went to school in the 60s.
You remind me of one of my...
There were no computers in my time.
Oh, there were. Just that they were... One small computer that could process 1 megabyte could be this big, as big as the studio. But we have a few gentlemen to help us look at these issues this morning. Let me begin with the ones that I have in the studio. Mr. Yele Okeremi is Chief Executive Officer, Precise Financial Systems Limited. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Mr. Olaiwola Onofoko is Chief Executive Officer, Dufotech Consult Limited. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And joining us virtually is the President, Association of Telecommunication Companies of Nigeria, ATCON, Ikechukwu Namani. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, thank you.
Yeah, so, but let me begin from here in the studio. Well, Mr. Kiremi, on the one hand, the information was put out there. And part of the objectives, according to the information put out initially, was to generate revenue. But before we go there,
Excuse
me. Better.
I'm sorry.
Before we go there, what is this DMS about, this device management system?
Well, thank you very much. When I received the call yesterday, incidentally, it was a busy day for me. I read it in the papers too. And my first reaction, and I think I'm vindicated now, is to say, I don't believe it. I don't believe governments would have done that. However, having said that, I know the bar is really low, you know, in Nigeria today. By the number of policies that have been brought in recent times have been well criticized, and even I criticized some of them. But my first action would have been to call the minister himself. There's no point talking about these things when he's a phone call away from me and have these conversations. But it was a busy day for me, and I did not do so. And then this morning, I saw that there's a rebuttal from NCC. But having said that, so it means that I don't think they will do it. They may try to do it, but I don't think they will do it. However, I don't think it makes sense to ask people to register IMEI, because I tried to read the reasoning. So you say, for security, and you say to generate funds. I don't understand how you want to generate funds, because to my mind, that is more like milking people. If you ask me to come and pay for what service are you offering?
No, pay to register my IMEI or what? What are they going to ask us to pay for?
So if you say you want to generate money, it doesn't make sense to me. Because are you asking me as a Nigerian citizen, you want to tax the fact that I have a phone, because it's an indirect tax. But again, if somebody is thinking that way, it shows perhaps the person is not able to articulate smarter ways where nations create wealth. Because ordinarily, there are smarter ways that nations could create wealth. And this country potentially is extremely rich, and actually kinetically could be a lot richer than we are. And we are actually suffering from poverty as a result of a lot of inconsistent policies at government level that should have been congruent with wealth creation. Albeit, if you want to talk about even security and tracking of phones, again, even at that level, it still doesn't make sense to me. And I'm happy the NCC has denied it, and I hope it remains so. And I'll tell you why it still doesn't make sense to me. Because ordinarily speaking, there's a simple protocol that happens. Anytime you switch on your mobile phone, new, old, the SIM card negotiates with the phone. That's why that SIM card has a chip in it. It negotiates with the phone. And then the phone negotiates with the nearest cell tower to it. And part of the information that is exchanged at that particular point in time is a whole lot. So that's why they can actually track your location, because it's a function of which cell tower is close to you.
Yeah.
And part of the information that's exchanged, actually, the SIM card having negotiated with your phone knows the IMEI. And that IMEI is registered on the network.
Okay.
So if you say you want to block stolen phones, which is okay, it's as simple as, and it's already happening. All you need to do is report the IMEI, and they hotlist it. And once they hotlist it, then anytime it tries to register on the network says no.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Onofo a basic question. We're talking IMEI. What does that mean? The Nigerian out there would like to know, what is the IMEI and where is it?
Okay. The IMEI is described in terms of definition as the International Mobile Equipment Identity. That might sound also a bit lengthy.
It is.
But in layman's term, it is the identity or the name for your phone. It is the fingerprint. It is the DNA.
Okay, so every phone has a name.
Unique.
A
The
unique.
keyword, unique IMEI.
In layman's words.
Which means
a unique name.
A unique name.
So my
a
phone
unique
may be
identity.
called Shade and your own is Tunde.
No, it's 15 digits.
It doesn't
15
matter.
digit name.
It doesn't matter. That's the name of that particular phone. And no two phones have the same name.
So it goes beyond the name. It is the DNA or the fingerprint of that device.
Good.
So it says that this device is a unique, and the word unique means one.
There's only one in
Only
this world.
one in the world
Yeah.
that is of that particular IMEI. So that
Okay.
is the identity that is given to every phone that is manufactured legally.
Okay.
Okay.
So how does a subscriber access his IMEI?
Oh, it's very simple. There are several ways. One physical way is on the box of your phone. There's a label there that has the IMEI. That's one. If you're able to take out the battery of your phone, because most phones nowadays, smartphones, don't allow for you to open it up.
Yeah, true.
So for those that you can open up, once you open up the battery compartment, you would also see the IMEI there.
Okay.
Another way is
For the smartphone?
for smartphone, for analog phone, for any phone. So everyone at home right now, you can do *#06#. So long as as soon as you do the last hash, you would see your IMEI come up.
Star
#06#. Now, to do this, you don't even need to have a SIM card in that phone.
Okay.
Just do it, and that instruction will pull out the IMEI of your device on your screen.
Okay.
So you would see that on your screen. So you can try that. It gives you IMEI. You might see two IMEIs if your phone is a dual SIM. As I said, it is a unique number to a particular phone. But phones that have dual SIM capabilities would show you the two different IMEIs of your phone.
I don't get that. Now I'm confused. I have one phone
Yes.
With
that has two
Two
SIMs.
SIMs.
Yes.
And it will give me two names
Yes.
for
that
one
same phone.
device, one phone.
Yes. So you have a woman with twins.
Oh.
They have different names. So that's the best way I can.
Oh my God.
I can simplify.
Okay.
But it's the same device.
Yes, it is the same device. But because there is an opportunity for 2 SIM cards to operate in that device, it is going to allocate two different IMEIs.
So that's why that
see.
this image also has 2 IMEIs.
Absolutely. So you see
Okay.
IMEI 1 and
IMEI
IMEI 2.
2.
That shows you that phone is a dual SIM phone.
96001, 96019. Okay.
Well, Mr. Namani, to the issue of the notice put out and the rebuttal, some would say there is no smoke without fire. For the notice to have come out in the first place, it's been flagged in their minds, some would say in the spirit, that something is about to happen. I think Mr. Okeremi also, you said they might try, so that's kind of a flag. What's this? And the hypothesis, the conspiracy theories may not end unless there are clear communication from the authorities.
Thank you so much. I think the authority, the Nigerian Communication Commission, already addressed this through their press release yesterday. Now, let's don't, as you rightly said, I think this is being, in my opinion, overblown because of so many conspiracy theories that goes on around, right? What the regulator said, which was also contained in the new SIM card registration policy, is that there's going to be a device database system, okay, which is a database that would contain every device being used in the country in one central database. Information available to me is that is still going to happen. Okay, the creation of that database is still going to happen because there are a lot of benefits to having that database. NCC clearly stated all the benefits even in their press release. Topmost on it is to fight against phone theft, where somebody can just steal a phone, remove the SIM card, sell it, another person picks it up, puts a new SIM card and continue to use it. Now, if a phone is reported stolen and there's a central database that report goes to, whoever stole that phone will not be able to use it without being blocked or identified. That is the way to stop the phone theft side of it, which has a lot of benefit. The second is with security. They kidnap you, they take your phone, they remove the SIM card, they can even put a different SIM card and start calling. Now, this will also help to deal with that. So I'm trying to separate the creation of the database, which is important and is needed, from the issue of how does the database get populated. The problem was probably because of the issue with SIM registration. Once people saw that the database was to be created, they went on with the comment that, oh, everybody still needs to go and register to have this done. Nobody needs to register. This is done automatically. As a matter of fact, every network operator today, as was explained in the earlier comment, can access your number. So they don't even need you to do anything. It's just that all that number will now be put in a central database using blockchain technology so that a phone can have its own unique identity, and that identity remains with the original owner of the phone. That is really what we are trying to create here, or what is being created. And let me give some historical background because I've been around the industry for many, many years. People don't know this, but probably more than 10 years ago, the regulator actually licensed a company to provide this service. I know that very well. Unfortunately, the licensee or the promoter of this project, he lost his life. I believe that was why this project never happened many years ago. So this is not an initiative that is coming from this government. People may not know because it's not being put in the public. I'm very much aware that more than 10 years ago, somebody was licensed to offer this kind of service. The main reason at that time was to fight against phone theft and to be sure that once a phone is declared missing, there should be a way to blacklist it or a phone is used for committing crime, there should be a way to blacklist that phone and by default be able to trace whoever decides to use that phone and work backwards doing forensic audit to identify who has committed crime. It was purely based on fraud and security at that time. Now, if the reason have changed, is subject to review, but I'm trying to explain that there is a historical part of this that many people may not be aware of.
Mr. Namani, if the NCC wants IMEIs of all phone subscribers, all they have to do is collect them from the networks. Because the networks have that information already.
And that's what we are saying. That's what I'm trying to clarify. That the confusion, I don't know where that came from. The fact that people were told they need to go and register, I don't know where that information came from, but that was the first information. That information, wherever it originated from, was not accurate. And the regulator has clarified that that information was not accurate. Because it doesn't need to happen. People don't need to go register or submit it for the database.
I have to stay with you now. You're talking about security reasons and all that. Kidnappers use cell phones to call relations and whatever to ask for ransom. We have not heard of anybody who's been arrested for using a phone to ask for ransom in any kidnap case. So what exactly is the point of all this?
Let me... Again, I guess that's probably going to be a separate subject matter on another day. But believe me, the security agencies do actually pick up kidnappers after they've done forensic analysis of the case. Some of this is not in the public domain, but if you actually, I would probably recommend in another section that this should be addressed, including the security agencies giving some records of successes that have been achieved when a forensic review is done, and most times the network operators assist in ensuring that this happens. So I want to put that on the record because there's this misconception that there's nothing being done and there's no solution. There is some solution. It's not at the level we hope it should be. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. There's still so much that needs to go into that. One is being able to identify that somebody has been kidnapped or where the person is being held. The second is being able to rescue or initiate the security mechanism that such a person will be rescued with. That is totally different from telecom. It now has to do with national security, and I believe people with the right criteria should be able to address what they are doing with that. But believe me, from the telecom side, whatever is needed to address some of these can be provided.
Well, Mr. Keremi, it would sound like, I mean, while he was talking, you had some reservations.
Reservations about everything he said. Listen, look, I mean, we are not fools in this country. If you want to award frivolous contracts, go ahead and do it. You don't have to explain to us you are in power. But certain things cannot sit down with me. Look, I hold a doctorate degree, for example. I mean, why would you tell you want to have a database of which country does that? I never said it. The database is available at any point in time. Actually, you can get it even in historical perspective. That any phone that registers even once on any network, you have the database. But if you want to do political favors to your friends and cronies, give silly contracts, and then you write a memo justifying security generation of funds, doesn't make sense. The honest truth is that, I mean, I can understand how government works. So somebody's already writing a memo that will go to Federal Executive Council and is trying to justify it to me, but it doesn't sit down well with me. I'm a software engineer. The moment any device connects to the network is there. It's a standard procedure.
That is why sometimes your device will tell you, okay, you receive automatic
down settings, configuration settings. That's how it works. Then, secondly, you say for stolen phones, it still doesn't make sense. Today, anywhere in the world, if you report a stolen phone to the GSM, they can block it.
Yeah.
Then you are talking about knowing locations because they could use. If this doesn't, look, I have experienced it before. I had my driver kidnapped sometime last year. My driver was kidnapped in Ugeli. And within hours, the DSS was able to tell me where they were. They said they knew, they sent me the location, that this is where they are. It's ABC technology. But what then did they do? The people in the Sambisa forests, and all they said they know where they are. Look, guys, let's get real and face real serious issues that develop nations.
Perhaps
this
one
doesn't make sense.
Perhaps one other serious issue here is one of the reasons, even in that rebuttal, and you probably have seen it as well, that part of the reason this whole thing is even being initiated is to discourage counterfeit devices in the country. The question that came to my mind is, so how did they get in the country in the first place?
First of all, what's the definition of counterfeit devices? Because look, every construct needs to be clearly defined. What does counterfeit mean? So if I do Samsung and I brand and I say I do a phone somewhere and I brand it Samsung, is that what makes it counterfeit? The fact is simple. Does it work? You go to other countries, even China that you talk about. They manufacture Nike. They have other brands that are equivalent. And I don't want to go there. But even these conversations we are having about IMEI and stuff like that, they are what we call firmware. And just like Mr. said, this firmware, when you have people who understand it, can actually compromise at the end of the day. Look, these conversations, and these are the kind of things that exasperate Nigerians. We spend time talking about non-issues when other nations are discussing very serious issues that are going to 30-year horizons. We are discussing pedestrian issues around here. And that's the point I see. It's upsetting.
Mr. Nafoko, clearly, even in the light of the NCC's rebuttal, questions on the minds of a number of people would be of trust. When most of the time when people hear, about certain policies of government, this is what you need to do, that's what you need to do. The fact that they know that government has these information about their devices, some would be very, very uncomfortable with it, especially in the light of distrust over the years. What would you be telling people about that?
Well, the issue around trust of the Nigerian government is not something that started today. Yeah. It's something that's been there for many, many years.
Many years.
If the government doesn't change and start, imbibing that element of trust in Nigerians, it will continue and it will go beyond this sector. It will go into, any sector, into a way of life. So the issue of trust is a thing that the government really, really needs to work on. But as regards this whole issue around the IMEI, what I'll say to Nigerians out there is, if they need to have this information, there are ways of getting this information. Like my co-panelist said regarding his kidnapped driver, the DSS were able to get that information. They can't get that information whichever way from the operators. But I am certain that there is a process for getting this information. The operator will not release information to government without a proper documentation, either a police report or some sort of security report requesting for information on that particular line. And this is something that happens on a daily basis. Operators get this request every time when there's an investigation. So in terms of the government knowing information about where a particular person is, who they're calling, who is calling them, where they go to, they can get those information from the operators, but this has to be done legally. And I know that is currently ongoing. So in terms of that trust, there's a legal process for the government to get this information.
Let me piggyback on the question Alera asked the other time about, discouraging kidnapping with technology. If indeed, I have no doubt, no reason to disbelieve Dr. Okeremi here of his experience. If indeed this thing works, how come kidnapping is still so high?
Well, it does work. As Mr. Nnamani also said, and Dr. Okeremi also said, yes, they actually catch the culprits. But the issue is not that. The issue is there are more people that have decided that kidnapping is a lucrative business. And they rush into it. You're asking a question, why is it still prevalent? It is prevalent because more and more people are going into that line of business. If a tanker falls, and it's leaking PMS, petrol, people know it's dangerous.
But they still go.
People, kidnappers know that, yes, we can be caught. They can track us, but they still do it. Okay. So this is now this discussion for more probably systemic issues that we're facing as a country.
Okay, Mr. Nnamani, Lanredo, who is asking a question. Is NCC aware that there are now applications that can change IMEI? How do they intend to handle that? First of all, is it possible to change IMEI?
It's not possible to change IMEI. We need to be careful when we make some of this analysis, okay? It's like saying, is it possible to change your DNA? You can fake it, you can create a fake version of it, but that doesn't mean you have changed it. We need to be careful because all this is technology stuff, right? So number one is, if you look at, even with SIM card, the evolution of SIM card, we now have what is called virtual SIM card. It's no longer the physical one that most of us are used to, right? So the virtual one is keyed into your phone itself, and you just activate it. So different people can use it, but activate it. That is different. And we need to, so what I'm saying basically is that if somebody changes it, then that is already a red flag. That automatically triggers a red flag that something is wrong. It's like somebody hacking into your system, ransomware and the rest of it. It doesn't mean it cannot be done, but there it is the red flag. Somebody should trigger that something has gone wrong when that happens.
Okay. Dr. Kerem, want to respond to that?
We can use semantics to say whether you are faking or whatever. The question is very straightforward. When you make an inquiry, because it's a protocol, when the switch makes an inquiry, what's your IMEI? The phone responds. And once the phone responds, there's an acknowledgement, and that ends the transaction. And to the extent, that's why you say you cannot change it, you can fake it, whatever you call it. The point is that number that is presented to the switch can be changed.
It can't be changed.
It can be changed.
It can be changed, okay.
It can be changed.
How?
And so,
who changes it?
I've said this who did it in the first instance? It's human beings. Human beings created it. So there's a way we say it in Yoruba land. That is the person that did the pencil, that did the eraser. What are we discussing? This is straightforward. So, I'm going to disagree with certain notions. Let's get real with real serious issues. To say it cannot be changed is not correct.
Okay. This person is being very, I think, cynical. Righteousness exalts a nation, or para earnest. The safety of my phone does not concern government. Why does government want me to register my phone?
So first things first, the government has said they do not want you to register your phone.
Because your phone is already registered with the network you are linked to.
Exactly. So, all your information is sitting with the network. And the network is protecting your information as per your rights.
Yeah, but if NCC should ask for it,
now
will the network not give it to them?
The NCC for them to ask for it, the NCC as an entity cannot ask for it. They would have to go to a security agency to get a report and to say, these are the reasons why we need this customer's information.
Okay.
Even as a citizen, and I want to, I suspect you of, calling me and trying to defraud or, if I need to build a case against you and to get information about you from the operator, I cannot go to the operator. I have to go
to law enforcement.
To law enforcement, state my case.
Okay.
They would now be the ones to say, give us that information.
Another question for you before we close with Mr. Namani. Uche says, what is the advice for people who gift their old phones to others in terms of security of this Imei, which is linked to the original owner or buyer of the phone? Is it possible to transfer the Imei to the person who the phone is now gifted to?
Well, by automation, the Imei is transferred. So if I give you my phone, what happens is once you put your SIM card in that phone, the operator you are using links your SIM card with the Imei and all the other details.
Does it automatically erase from yours?
It will not erase. Now, if we're on the same network, for example, take any of the network, and I used it, and I took out my SIM card, and I gave you my phone, and you put your SIM card on it, what the operator would see, they would see historical data to see the several SIM cards on their own network that has used that Imei at any point in time. So it comes with stamp, date stamp. So I see MSISDN 1 has used it between so date and so date. MSISDN 2 has used it between. So that information is available to the operator.
Oh. There's a lot of information, but and this is definitely a start.
It's clearer.
We have to continue it, but for now, we have to thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of our conversation this morning. Mr. Ikechukwu Namani is President of the Association of Telecommunication Companies of Nigeria, ATCON. He joined us virtually. Thank you so much for your time and thoughts. Yeah, Mr. Olawola Onofwakon is CEO, Dufotech Consult Limited. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
As well as Dr. Yele Okeremi, CEO, Precise Financial Systems Limited. I still didn't get to ask you that financial question, but maybe another time. Thank you very much for your time.
Always a pleasure.
So, Sunrise returns for another conversation in a mo. Please stay with us.